Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is either Chris Weighs In or Switch Game, depending on what channel you're watching this on. I am going to release it on both. It is gaming related, so I'm going to put it on the Switch channel, and it is kind of like a weigh-in session, so I'm going to put it on my vlog channel. I'll leave links down below if you're curious. The weigh-in channel, the vlog channel is brand new. I just started it when I lost my job. I kind of wanted to do it to kind of do it like a weight loss journey while weighing in on subjects that are interesting to me. And because this is about a video game, I'm going to put it on the gaming channel as well. If you like the channel or you like the content, drop a like, drop a sub. I greatly appreciate it. I would also like you to drop a comment on your thoughts of season 2 of The Last of Us. I like to have a discussion here on what you think. I know a lot of the discussion is going to be on one of the particular actors or actresses in the show, and we'll discuss that a little bit, but I also would like to know your overall thoughts on how they're handling the story, regardless of the individual people in it. But let's get started. The Last of Us season 2 is basically, it feels like an anemic version of what the game was. There are some pros, some mixed feelings, and some cons that I want to discuss, but overall it's a package that I just don't feel deserves having a bow put on and shipped to the audience. And what I mean by that is, when you've played the game, which I have, right? I have my Last of Us 2 shirt on. I love this game. I love this series. There's just things that you realize, that you learn, and that you know because you're playing the video game, whereas the show audience is going to have to wait, what, 2 to 3 years to learn this information. And I think that that was the dumbest mistake that they could have made. First, let's go ahead and talk about some of the positives. I like the changes to the attack on Jackson in the first couple episodes. That was really awesome. That's not in the game, but I thought that was really cool to kind of condense a lot of the combat that you get in the video game into just one episode of TV, right? Let's just get everyone lick their lips on the combat, see the infected go nuts, and give us, that hard home feeling from Game of Thrones, and then let us start doing the exposition, let us start doing the slower episodes, and go from there. So I like that, the look of everything, the set designs. I do feel like you're taking the scenes from the game and putting them in the show. They're doing a good job at that. The characterizations of like Abby, I think, are really well. I like Abby's actress. She's not as muscular as in the game. I totally get that, but that's fine. That'll really be tested in season 3, which we'll talk about. I like the characterization of Dina a lot. Isabella Merced is killing it as that character. I love that actress as a whole. Alien Romulus was the thing I saw before this that she was in, and I loved her in that, right? She's developing into one of the screen queens of our generation. High kudos to her, high praise to her. I love Dina in the show. I can't wait to see how they handle her in the rest of the show at the end of the story, which again we'll talk about. Kind of just to throw this out there, I'll talk about the future in a spoiler section where I kind of compare where we're supposed to go. I'll let you know ahead of time, but anything that happened in the game during season 2 is fair game. I will discuss the differences and changes. If you plan on playing the game and you don't want to know that, please, I'll see you later. Come back and watch this another time. The other things I'm positive on are how they handled Joel's death. I do like it. I do understand a lot of people were really upset because Abby is not this big, muscular woman. They're like, oh, really? Could she really do that? Well, you have to remember, she caught him off guard, blew off his kneecap with a shotgun. Yeah, he's not doing much about it. So I believe it. It's fine. I like that she beats the crap out of Joel with the golf club, just like in the game, but she breaks the golf club. I think visually, the rage and anger that someone has to be portraying in order to break a golf club in half on someone's head, portrayed very well, and then using it to stab him to finish him off. Nice touch. The change that they made that I didn't like was when Dina has to be put to sleep. What? In the game, Tommy's there, not Dina. And they knock her out with some juju juice. I just thought that was kind of dumb. I think I know the reason they did that. I think they were trying to show Mal having a medical background and stuff like that. Whatever. That does play a part in the game, in the Abby section that you don't know about. So that's the only thing I can think of. Because other than that, why the hell would they want to put her to sleep? Why would they care? They would just have her pinned down, tied up, and then just kill Joel. Who cares? Whatever. That's pretty much it on the positives, though. Other than that, I don't really have much else positive to say. Everything else is mostly in the mix section, and I think it's mostly mixed because I need to see season 3. So talking about the mix, first and foremost, Nora and Mal's death. Both of those I'm mixed on because I don't think they're portraying Ellie's descent into madness well enough for me to believe that she is going to become this mean, evil killing machine like she does in the game. Right? Nora, she's She does have that moment where she comes out of the shadow into the red light. She looks angry and then she beats Nora to death. She does have that. But in the game, you've slaughtered a certain number of people to get to that point, and you realize Ellie is on a killing path to get to Nora. So when she kills Nora and she starts to have that moment of, oh my God, look at that path of death that I've laid upon me, and I am going crazy, and she starts to break down a little bit from that realization, it makes more sense in the game. Mal and Owen, right? She comes and she confronts Mal and Owen just like in the game. Where's Abby? Owen makes a move. She shoots Owen. In the game, though, Mal grabs a knife and attacks Ellie, and Ellie kills Mal by stabbing her in the neck. And then Owen's like, she's pregnant, help her. And then Ellie goes over, unbuttons the jacket, and sees the baby bump and realizes, holy crap, I've just killed a pregnant woman. In the show, she shoots Owen, but accidentally kills Mal. And having her accidentally kill Mal takes that whole rage and descent into madness sort of idea and removes that a little bit, because she didn't mean to do it. It was okay. It's an accident. It's not okay, but it's an accident. You can forgive it. In the game, she stabs the shit out of Mal. Yeah, it's in self-defense. That could be argued similarly as an accident, but there's a difference, right? I just don't think that they're portraying Ellie's just anger and rage enough as she descends into literally becoming the thing she swore she would never become. She's becoming a Sith Lord, right? She's Anakin in that descent in the game. I don't feel that as much in the show. I do like some changes, though. I do like, you know, Mal, like her moment of desperation, save the baby, help me, you know, did you get it? Is it okay? Is everything like that was that was shocking. I will admit that was handled really well. That was a lot more of an emotional gut punch, if you will, for how they handled it. So I do think that change was great. Same thing with Joel. You know, with Joel, the way he tries to get up as Ellie's yelling for him to help. Those little moments that they added, they kind of just twist the knife a little better for the TV audience that we in the gaming audience didn't see. Right in the game, Joel was pretty much just gone while Ellie's screaming at him. And in the game, Mal just gets stabbed and dies almost immediately, and she just realizes she's pregnant and has the moment. So that's a change I was okay with, right? That emotional twisting of the knife for these moments was good, but I still don't believe Ellie's this killing machine anymore, because again, you don't have all the lead up kills that go to it. In the game, you've killed so many people, so many infected to get to these characters, and in the show, you don't have that. Tommy and Jesse's changes are a little bit mixed for me. Tommy in the game is just as power hungry as Ellie in terms of getting revenge, and he's the one that you're actually following in the game. You're following Tommy's path of destruction to get to Abby, and you don't really have that in the show until the end when you realize, oh yeah, Tommy is out there, but you didn't know that, which I think was kind of silly, because it kind of makes it feel like Tommy didn't care this whole time. He didn't really have any opinion on this. He really didn't care that Joel died. You know, yeah, you had his moment of sadness and grief, but you didn't have that rage that Tommy is experiencing. Jesse, he's just not as fun. Honestly, he's just more of like the big, serious older brother in the show. And in the game, he's a little bit more goofy. He's like the goofy older brother. That's a minor thing, I will admit. They did do exactly in the show what happens to him in the game, right? They hear the noise in the theater. Jesse runs out, bam, gone. Just instantly gone. Character out of the story. And you're just like, whoa. So that was pretty good. And the last thing I would say I'm mixed on is that moving of all the flashbacks into one episode. See, in the game, as you're playing, you have these moments where they flash back to Joel teaching Ellie a lesson, showing Ellie something, kind of expanding Ellie's growth, and it utilizes those themes to show her changing from that into this crazy person who wants revenge, right? Here's this sweet moment of her as an astronaut, boom, you know, juxtaposed to her slaughtering people to get to Joel's killer. So you don't really have that in the show in the same way, but I think they handled it okay. That's why I'm mixed on it, because they did handle it really well, where it's like, you know, Joel's dad, you know, don't become the man I am, become better, or whatever the quote is. And then at the end, you know, Joel says it to Ellie, and you're like, heartstrings, the feels, right? I'm not a father, but I have watched other YouTubers who have, you know, kind of weighed in on this, saying that as a dad, that moment hit them hard, because every father's dream is to be the perfect father, but no father can ever be perfect because we are imperfect beings. So I'm okay with it. I just hope going forward that because you don't have those to use as, again, a juxtaposition to the evil side of Ellie, that I just think that might be a difficult thing to portray. But considering season 3 is going to be from Abby's perspective, it doesn't matter. Cons, the things I don't like, man, some of the writing in this show is really, really just letting me down. Some of the episodes in the show are very slow burns. Like the episode after the attack on Jackson, right? It just feels like a lot of filler. Yeah, it's a lot of exposition, but it also feels like a lot of filler exposition that I didn't need. And I guess as a show, right, it seems like they try to do is slow episode, fast-paced episode, slow episode, fast-paced episode, slow episode, fast-paced episode, slow episode, fast-paced episode. That's what they seem to try to do. From a storytelling perspective, I guess in some ways that works, but imagine binging the show. You're going to want to skip these episodes because they're boring. There's like nothing that really changes the story if you skip it, right? If you skip the episode after Joel dies, where it's just Joel's funeral and then Ellie talking to Dina about what to do next, and you just go to the next episode where they're in Seattle, what did you miss? You didn't really miss much. I don't feel that way about season 1. Season 1, each episode had like a key moment that really mattered from the game to keep that story going, that every episode felt important, right? Bill's episode, you need that because you have to see, like, from a world perspective how people adapt to the world, but it also helps contextualize why Ellie, Joel, Tess, would all know where this person is, because otherwise you're like, how the hell does he know Bill? How the hell did he find this house? How the hell did all this happen? How'd they get the gear? How'd they get the truck? Right? All that is necessary. The episode with the two brothers, right? This is where, they finally get in. They're trying to get out of the city. You have the death of the crazy lady in that. Like, there's just so much that happens in each episode. It feels necessary episode to episode to continue, whereas season 2, you could skip episode 3, you could skip episode 5, whatever. I can't remember the exact episodes. You could even probably skip the flashback episode, unfortunately, because they did stick it all in one. And once you know the story, you don't need the flashbacks. That's a directing decision that they made. Whatever. The other one is going to be something that I know a lot of people are going to have comments on, and that is Ellie's portrayal. I am mixed on Ellie's portrayal because I think Bella Ramsey is doing fine as Ellie. I like Bella Ramsey as an actress. I think she's doing great. There is a hate train for Bella Ramsey because she doesn't look like Ellie from the show or from the game. Whatever. There's nobody that looks like fucking Yoda, so nobody's gonna be able to ever play Yoda again because nobody's a small, short, green, wrinkly, old thing. Like, shut the hell up with this. They don't look like the character. It can't be them. That's the dumbest excuse. An actor is portraying a character. That's not saying an actor is a one-to-one exact comparison. And there have been people showing images of like this girl on TikTok or Twitter or whatever who looks exactly like Ella from the game. Why isn't she the person playing out? Because maybe she's not an actress. Maybe she can't act. Hello? Whatever. People making fun of Bella because of the way she looks, because she has a little bit of a flat face. You're just kind of rude. I think you're just kind of a piece of shit for making fun of people. You're just a bully, and our society needs to fucking get rid of people like that. Now, I understand it's the internet, and people are going to internet, but that's my opinion. I don't like Ellie's writing. The writing that they gave her is garbage. And that's the one thing. If you're one of the people who's like, I don't like Bella Ramsey as Ellie because in the game, Ellie would have said this. Ellie would have done that. Ellie would have been here. Ellie would have been there. That's different. But your argument isn't with Bella. Your argument now is with the writer and director, because they're the ones changing that characterization. They're the ones changing that direction of where that character's going, what they're saying. So who are you really upset with? Are you upset with Bella Ramsey as the actress who's portraying the character the way she's told to? Or are you upset with the writer and director who's changing the story from what you wanted it to be? Right? Let's put our frustration with the right people. Anyways, let's move on. When I say the writing, like I said, her descent into madness just isn't there for me. I don't believe that by the end of season 3, you're going to have this scary, terrifying, evil, crazy Ellie who would do anything to get Abby. I don't believe it. I just don't. Some of the like there's that one, we're going to discuss the elephant in the room, right? The I'm a dad, I'm going to be a dad line. I'm coming from a place of ignorance. I completely admit that. And what I'm going to say, I hopefully doesn't offend anybody, but I'm just going to speak from my experience as an adult. Whenever I experience two lesbian individuals who have a child, they always call themselves the moms. The kid has two moms. It's two mommies. You know, they're raised by two moms, whatever the case may be. I've never heard a lesbian couple say one is the dad, one is the mom, unless one of them is trans, in which case, okay, now I understand why, you know, that verbiage is going to be used. It just doesn't make sense for Ellie to say, I'm going to be a dad, because I've never heard a lesbian say that. And again, I'm speaking just from personal experience. I could be wrong. Times could have changed. I don't know. I'm not upset that it's included. I'm just upset at how that took me out of the moment, because I'm like, do people talk like that? Is that really what people would say in that moment? Right? Ellie just showed Dina that she's immune to this virus. Ellie just took a bite in the arm to protect Dina. Is this really what we're going to talk about right now? Dina doesn't have a million questions for Ellie about being immune, a million questions about her first time being bit, a million questions about what's going to happen with her future, a million questions about, has she tried healing anybody? None of that. No, we're going to talk about, I'm going to be a dad. That took me out of that moment, because if it were me, if I were Dina, right, and I had Ellie, I love you, but we need to talk about the elephant in the room. You're the only fucking immune person in the world? Hello? What? How? Do you know why? Have you done anything to help, you know, figure this out? And that just took me out. Again, the line itself, I get, is... I don't want to use the word cringe, because it didn't make me cringe. I just was like, wait, would someone say that? And another fine example of people saying things that are just stupid and nobody would say it, the Halloween trilogy sequel, Halloween Kills. Evil dies tonight. The more he kills, the more he transcends. Nobody talks like that. That's not how people talk. It takes you out of the world. It takes you out of the moment. Anyways, so Ellie's writing is the biggest problem that I have in the show. Bella Ramsey's doing fine, but the writing. Also, and I do understand, I will say, nitpick, she doesn't look any older, so it still looks like a 15-year-old teenager doing everything that an adult Ellie would be doing. Whatever. The ending, I don't like the ending. I don't like cliffhanging it on Abby. We're going to start talking about spoilers here in a minute, but them stopping on Abby and having that moment given to Abby as the ending kind of bugs me, because I, as the gamer, have played through it and I know what happens. And when I get to that point, I can hit continue and go, and immediately I know what's going on. And I'm like, okay, now I get it. Audiences on TV have no idea what the hell's happening, right? This is like a Negan level cliffhanger. They have to wait to find out what the fuck is going on, and a lot of people aren't going to want to wait, right? The story wasn't that good that people are going to sit there on pins and needles for a year and a half, 2-3 years waiting for season 3. I have a sad feeling that when season 3 comes out, no one's going to care, because a lot of the marketing material is going to show Abby as the main person we're following, and everybody at this point fucking hates Abby, right? In the game, you hate Abby, but there's a difference in the game, and let's get into that. So, spoiler alert, we're going to start talking more about what happens in the game specifically that you haven't seen in the show. So if you don't want that, thank you guys for hanging out. Drop your comments down below. Tell me how you felt about season 2. If your only comment is to bash on Bella Ramsey's looks, don't leave a comment. Leave that at the door. If your issue is with the writing and the characterization, let's discuss that, because that I can't agree with. In the game, as soon as this moment happens, you switch perspective to Abby and you kind of rewind, I think like a week, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, something like that. And you start to see Abby's trek after killing Joel. She gets back to the WLF. Isaac's like, hey, we're going to thank you for coming back. It's nice to see you. We love Isaac. We're going to go beat the shit out of the Seraphites. Let's go. They go. There's this huge war. Abby ends up meeting Lev and Yara, two Seraphites who've been ostracized by the Seraphites because they don't follow the cult the way they want to be. They want them to follow. And she befriends them. She takes them to Mal. Mal realizes there's something wrong. They have to amputate her arm. Hence the medical background for Mal, I think, is what they're trying to show in the show. And then Abby starts to kind of develop a sort of big sister sort of mentality towards Lev, because Lev's a little boy. And Lev, realizing that the WLF is going to go and attack the Seraphites, runs away to get over there to get to the Seraphite camp to save his mom, because his mom is a Seraphite. Abby has to chase after him, help him. The WLF and the Seraphites go to full-on war, killing and slaughtering each other. Yara ends up killing Isaac. They kill Yara. That gives Abby time to escape with Lev. And then she gets away. And while this is all happening, you're starting to understand the perspectives of Abby. Abby really wants to help people. She really wants to help others. She really wants to be a hero. But there's always that tinge of just anger and vengeance for what happened to her dad when Joel killed him in the hospital. So you have her wanting to get vengeance on Joel for her dad, but also, you know, wanting to be the person that people can rely on and help. So you start to see that, and it starts to play out more. In the show, they tell you right at the beginning, I'm killing you because you killed my dad. In the show, you don't find that out for a while. And you're like, whoa, okay, now this is starting, the motivations are starting to come together. In the show, the motivation just seems so selfish. That's why people just absolutely fucking hate her in the show. In the game, that motivation starts to make sense. Again, not right. You're still mad at her for killing Joel, but it makes sense now. And then in the game, right, there's this cool sequence where you're fighting against a sniper in a tower at the other end of a bridge. There's a guy with her named Manny, and you guys are trying to run up to the tower to get the sniper. You realize the sniper is Tommy. Tommy kills Manny. Abby yeets Tommy over the bridge. You think he's dead, but he's not. Really cool sequence. And then it all leads into them finding Mal and Owen's body, and Abby finds the map that shows the theater as their headquarters, and it leads into that sequence where Abby kills Jesse, and basically she's like, I have Lev, I have this family now that I'm trying to form, right? This my little brother I want to protect. I don't have time for this. I don't want to get into this. Ellie, fuck off. I never want to see you again. We're through. I'm not going to kill you. We're through. Ellie goes off. She goes off with Tommy. They go back to Jackson. They end up having this nice little sweet life with Dina. They have the baby. They're raising the baby on a little farm. Some time has passed, and Tommy out of nowhere shows up and says, I know where Abby's at, by the way. I found out. Dina begs Ellie not to go, and being driven by that descent into madness that we were talking about, being driven by vengeance, Ellie goes. She goes, she confronts Abby. Abby's been caught by a new group of faction that you guys haven't heard of in the show called the Rattlers, and they've strung up Abby and Lev for torture, and they're going to kill him. Abby runs in, you know, decimates the Rattler camp, basically, and then pulls Abby and Lev down, and in another word, threatens to kill the kid if Abby doesn't fight her. Because Abby's like, I don't want this. I don't want this. She's exhausted. She's been tortured. She just wants to get out of this. Ellie's like, no, I'm gonna fucking kill you for killing Joel. We're gonna fight this out now. And if you don't, I'm gonna kill the kid. So Abby reluctantly fights Ellie. They fight, they battle it out. Ellie gets her couple of her fingers bitten off. Ellie's about to drown Abby, kill Abby, end it all. And she starts remembering a lot of the lessons from Joel. She starts remembering Joel as he was and realizing that killing Abby is not going to change anything. Killing Abby does nothing. And killing Abby just sets that cycle of vengeance in motion because now Lev might come after her. So she lets Abby go. They have that mutual agreement. We're done with each other forever. Lev and Abby go off on the boat. Ellie's just standing there, you know, just destroyed mentally and emotionally. She goes back to the farmhouse, finds out Dina left. Dina didn't want anything to do with this anymore. She warned her that if she left, that'd be it. You know, you're choosing vengeance over your family, right? The themes of just revenge and anger and being so like tunnel visioned into that anger. And then it ends with that sequence where Ellie and Joel on the porch kind of reconcile with one another about what Joel did. And you have that moment where they finally agree to try to work on this relationship. And then you realize that was the night before Joel's death. And then you're like, oh, that's, you know, now you're understanding why she's so angry. She finally got that moment where her and Joel can work on this relationship. She finally got that moment where now things can heal, and Abby took that away from her. And that's what drove her that mad. That's what made her go that crazy. Because the whole time you're like, I thought Ellie was mad at Joel. I thought Ellie hated Joel for what happened. Why is she so angry with Abby for killing Joel? Like, yeah, she loves Joel, right? That was her father figure. But she also had basically distanced herself from Joel because of his lie. So in the game, you're just kind of like, what the hell is she so angry for? But then you realize at the very end, the last scene, they finally had that moment to bridge their relationship back together and heal, and Abby's the one who took that away. And then you realize she grew up. She tried to realize that the vengeance and killing of Abby is not going to fix it. I don't know how they're going to portray all that in season 3. I have heard rumors that there's going to be a season 4, but season 3 has a lot to pick up on. I want to see the Rat King. That'd be kind of cool. Abby fights a creature called the Rat King. So you have all these things that are coming in season 3. You know, Abby's story, Abby's going to the Seraphites, finding Lev, Abby's relationship with Lev as like a big sister, Abby's relationship with the Rattlers, Isaac. So there's a lot to put together. And I could see technically them putting a season 3 as just Abby's section and then ending again in the theater. And then now we switch back to Ellie and Dina 4 years, 2-3 years later, however many years. I don't remember what the time skip was. And it's Dina and Ellie in the house. You know, you have an episode of Dina and Ellie. The episode ends with Tommy telling her where Abby is. Then it's maybe switches to Abby in the Rattlers camp and what's going on with her. Goes back to Ellie trying to find them. Maybe that's a short season. I don't know what they're going to do. But it feels like they're just stretching this out way too much. And as a TV audience, I just don't know if people care. I don't know if anyone's going to care by season 3 to follow Abby, because I think that they haven't done enough with Ellie to kind of make her now look like the villain. Because in the game, you start to look at Ellie as the villain, especially when you play as Abby, because you're running away from Ellie the whole time. Ellie is the villain for Abby. And I just don't think they portrayed that well. But anyways, those are my thoughts. I just wanted to weigh in on that. I kind of just rambled there at the end. There's so much that still has to happen. I think that they made a huge mistake by truncating so much into this season. I think this season should have been a full 10 episodes. You could have easily done a little bit more with the flashbacks. You could have done a little bit more of showing Ellie going crazy. You even could have shown maybe maybe episode 8, maybe 8 episodes. And episode 8 could have been us picking up as Abby and then letting the audience kind of get a little bit of Abby time so that it eases them into the next season. But that's not what they did. They left on that Negan style cliffhanger of shit just went down, your whole story, everything you know is about to change, boom, now you gotta wait for 2 years. And I just don't think people want to wait. I know I wouldn't have waited. I know the story, so it's different, but I feel bad for the people who are kind of stuck now going, what the fuck's gonna happen? So anyways, you guys, those are my thoughts on the season. Again, drop a like and sub if you like the content. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on the season. Hopefully season 3 lands the plane. That's all I can say. If HBO Game of Thrones season 3, one of the biggest disappointments, I think, in TV gaming related history, because a lot of people were having high hopes that season 2 would just be a continuation of the high of season 1. And so far, for a lot of people, it's not. But we'll see how it goes. All right. Anyways, I'll catch you guys later.